Hello and welcome to the Korean Beauty Show podcast. I'm your host, Lauren Lee, K-beauty expert, founder of Korean beauty brand Jellico, and your guide to everything you need to know about the world of Korean beauty. And today, as promised, I have a very special episode. I have with me a beauty and wellness travel concierge, Jennifer Seo. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Lauren. This is such an honor. I'm so happy to be joining your podcast today.
I'm very excited to have you here because we're going to be talking about a topic of conversation that I think a lot of people are very interested to know a little bit more about, particularly when it comes to Korea, Korean aesthetics, wellness, and what's sort of going on in the industry. So to get us started, can you tell us a little bit about your work and what you actually do and how you got into this space?
Sure, I'd love to. So this business grew organically. My first career, the bulk of my career was in financial services. I worked in Manhattan on Wall Street, and during my vacations and time off, I would visit Korea. So I have family there. I would visit them, but at the same time, I've had a passion for skincare since I was a teenager. So I would get different treatments done. Now they were more advanced and cheaper in Korea versus what I could find in New York City. Back then, it was 10 years ago. But I would go back and forth every year. I tried different treatments, tried different clinics and doctors. And over the years, I just really got to know the different nuances between the treatments, the doctor's techniques, and became very knowledgeable about truly what is effective, what is, truly results-oriented, the techniques, the talent of the doctors, and what to really look for and ask when going to these clinics in Korea. So over time, people would ask me, where do I go if I'm going to Korea? I want to do some skin treatments, and I would refer them to my doctors. And this demand from friends and family and referrals in the States became so large that eventually I decided to make it into a full-time business. So that is how our concierge business started. Right now, the way we operate is we cater towards foreigners who want to travel to Korea for non-surgical skincare services or medical exams or surgery as well. So we do a virtual consultation. I have client managers on the ground. I'm based in Southern California, but I have managers on the ground in Korea who can assist clients with translation and with being present with them from the time they go into surgery or whatever treatment that they're going into to the time, in the case of surgery, back to their hotel room to make sure they're all settled. So it is a true, top to bottom, comprehensive concierge service. So we really take care of our clients. The other thing is because I have a extended relationship with our partners, they really care for the well-being and the results of our clients. So it's not just a one and done type transaction. We do follow-ups, there's aftercare. So I think that's
wow, it's a fascinating story, and I feel like it's so similar to my story as well. How I got involved in Korean beauty in the first place, it was literally just out of personal interest, and then you end up learning a lot more, and then all of a sudden you find people coming to you, and you're like, hold on a minute.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
The best businesses come from personal passion, I believe.
Definitely. I feel like, especially for people like us that have had other careers before, and maybe this kind of thing doesn't necessarily come naturally to you, but if you're doing something that you're passionate about, it's just easy to talk about it. You don't feel like you're trying to put the hard sell on people or, sell them something that they don't want or need. It's more just, I'm interested in this. If you're also interested in this, let's have a chat.
Yes, definitely more authentic.
100%. So tell us, with all of that expertise and knowledge that you have gathered over the years, running your business, and being in this space, what kinds of treatments or procedures are your international clients most commonly coming to for Korea these days? You kind of touched on it a little bit, but tell us a bit more.
Okay, so it really depends on what country they are coming from. For the most part, a lot of clients are interested in the price. So the price for certain treatments that they can get in their country is far higher than what they can get in Korea. So even if they are getting the same types of treatments, they just like to get it done in Korea because it could be thousands of dollars cheaper. The other thing is, particularly with stem cells, there are a lot of different regulations in each country. So in the States, for example, where the bulk of our clients come from, stem cell treatments are not widely used or advertised. There are some legal restrictions to it. So when they go to Korea, I guess it used to be more regulated, but now it's become more lax over the last few months even. So a lot of clinics offer stem cell treatments. So that is basically, you can get stem cells extracted from your blood, you can get stem cells extracted from your bone marrow or your fat, but using those stem cells from yourself, your own body, they can inject it into various parts of your body that need regeneration. So the whole purpose of stem cell therapy is to regenerate the skin and to heal the skin or the body. So a lot of clients want to do things that are not only more economical in terms of price in Korea, but something that's new, cutting edge and innovative. And stem cell therapy falls into that category. Boosters are another category where, yes, Rejuran is available in the States, but it is far more expensive. But in Korea, there are a wide array of boosters. So you can choose from Rejuran, the Chanel booster, Exosomes. So I think the diversity of treatments available, as well as the price, as well as just innovative treatments that aren't available in the respective countries across the world.
Definitely. I must say that's a big one at the moment. A lot of people are very interested to find out. I think we were speaking a little bit before we came on air about, the popularity and the virality of some of these kind of procedures on social media these days.
Yes.
So I feel like people are picking up on a lot of different things that are going on in Korea and what kind of treatments people are doing in Korea through these kind of videos. Maybe not always the most accurate representations, and maybe not always the best place to go for your medical advice. But I think it's at least bringing it to people's attention that all of these kind of things they exist.
They exist.
The other thing that you mentioned that your clients are very interested in, and is one of the things that I have raved about on the show before, is the system that we have in Korea for medical exams. So can you tell us a little bit more about what that looks like as a foreigner coming to Korea for a checkup?
Sure. Medical exams, if there's one thing that I always recommend our clients to get, is a medical exam, especially if you're coming from the States, because it's a totally different perspective that Koreans have versus in the States. In the States, we are very reactive to symptoms, and then we treat symptoms, or we are authorized to get insurance coverage for exams or treatments after we exhibit symptoms, which is, I think, the reverse approach. So in Korea, it's entirely preventative. So there's a national health insurance, the government provides health insurance for every citizen, and then companies will mandate that you get a physical every year. So it's paid for by your employer, and there's different formats in which you can get a medical exam. For Korean nationals, you typically go to, it's more of an assembly line format where you go to a facility. There are many rooms on that floor, numbered from 1 through 20 or more, and you just go from room to room doing different exams in each room. So that is this typical format, and our partner is a large hospital network. So they operate multiple hospitals within Seoul, as well as just 20 minutes outside the city. So we refer clients to the hospitals primarily because in the event that there is something that is discovered within an exam or an x-ray. So these are real-time results that you can get, which is not always available in the States. So when something is found in an ultrasound, for instance, they can directly send you to another specialist within that hospital to get a follow-up exam or a CT scan, right, during the time allotted for your physical. So for that convenience, I typically send clients to the hospitals. There are medical centers where you just do diagnostic exams. But this type of the medical exams is a very popular, I guess, option for foreigners to have when they travel to Korea, because you can rarely, if at all, get this type of physical in the States. So the fact that you can get multiple different exams in one facility in one day within a 3 to 4 hour period is, often priceless. There's no red tape, there's no referrals, there's no multiple phone calls that you have to make to different offices. It's all in one place. So it's highly convenient, it's cost effective. Many people are willing to pay for that convenience, and the results are quick. So you can typically get blood results within a week. The scans you can get within a few days. So for that convenience and for the peace of mind, knowing that you've gotten your health checked and either you're in the clear or there's something that was discovered early stage, I think it's a great option for international travelers.
Definitely. It's one of the things I'm always saying to my parents. I'm like, now next time you're in Korea, we need to make sure we go and get you the full health checkup. And Australians can't believe it because, our system, it's different from the American system in some ways. But in terms of a comparison between Australia and Korea, the Korean system really leaves it for dead. And for one of the main reasons being just that it is so proactive. The Australian system, the Western system of doing medicine, like you said, is just so reactive, and it leaves it to the stage where you've already discovered that there's a problem, which, like you just mentioned, if you can catch it at an early stage, obviously that's half the battle. So I am a massive proponent of the Korean health system. My dad has now experienced it, and he raves about it to anyone that will listen. He's like, you should get on a flight to Seoul. Oh, wait until you get there. I'm like, this elderly Australian man just singing the praises of the Korean health system.
No, he needs to just get the word out. We do need to get the word out. It's all about preventative care. Diagnosing anything early is the key to longevity.
100%. I'm right with you on that one. All right, now let's get into another topic that I know a lot of our listeners are going to be really, really keen to hear your thoughts on, and that is dermatology and skin treatments. Obviously, we all know that Korea is very well known for its advanced dermatology services. What do you think makes Korea different from other countries? Now, I think you've already mentioned that the regulations are a little bit different and there are different treatments. Are there anything else that make it different in your eyes?
Yes, I think it really lies in the culture of Korea, because skincare and self-care is really ingrained in the culture. People, men, women, they have, dermatology clinics in their neighborhood. They just frequent on a weekly basis sometimes. Getting facials every week is not so out of the ordinary. And children start young too. Just taking care of your skin, taking care of yourself is it's just a way of life. So the sheer volume that these dermatologists and these doctors see, I think, is incomparable to what you would see in the States. So in the States, you need a referral sometimes to see a dermatologist. You only see them when you have a problem. It's not part of, daily life or just, self-care, as I mentioned. So I think because they have that volume, they just have greater experience looking at different cases, doing different injections or treating certain conditions. Just that sheer volume gives them more expertise. I think Korean doctors, for that reason, are just more skilled because they've seen more. I think because there's also more demand by the population in general, Korea is offers more innovation. So not only with technique, but for products as well. And this goes for skincare, which I'm sure you know, as well as for devices, medical devices that are used to treat. So Ultherapy and Thermage are popular treatments that are US devices, but Koreans have come up with their own devices that are the same technology. So in terms of innovation, just volume, drive, expertise, and just advancement in that whole field, I think that is what makes Korea truly unique compared with other countries.
I mean, you're preaching to the choir here. I agree with everything you just said. And the other thing is, I think these days especially, the rest of the world looks to Korea, even to what's going on in, dermatology clinics, the devices that they use. People want to know, what are they using in Korea? Oftentimes it's a selling point for foreign clinics. If they have a Korean-made device, they want to shout that from the rooftops. Yeah. Yes. So I think that kind of shows how far it's come, that, Korea is now pretty well established as the leader in the world, and everyone else just kind of is peeking over the shoulder to see what's going on in Korea.
Exactly. I mean, the whole radio frequency microneedling, that whole concept was developed by a Korean PhD. And then now there's so many knockoffs like Vivace, Morpheus. Still Firm is his original product, or actually Scarlet. But that whole technology that's so widely used in so many different clinics all over the world now originated from a Korean doctor who was a PhD.
It's a very, very popular treatment too.
Yes.
Particularly for people like me that have acne scarring. I've tried it a bunch of times. It's definitely not the most painless procedure, but if you have scarring, it'll do the trick.
Yes,
so I guess then my next question would be, what are some of the most in-demand skin treatments for your international clients?
In-demand skin treatments, I would say, I touched on it earlier. So there are booster treatments. Everyone is hearing about in the States Rejuran. It's the new latest and greatest skin.
Salmon sperm, right?
Yes, salmon sperm. It's not salmon sperm, but I always want to correct people. It's salmon sperm DNA.
I know.
But I think that's great for marketing. I guess it catches your attention.
Of course.
But that is in high demand. Now in Korea, it's been around for a decade or more. So there are other versions of boosters that can rejuvenate skin. That's a very popular procedure, but people don't realize that Rejuran was originally used to heal skin, to heal acne or to heal irritations or burns, things like that. So Rejuran, it's actually called Rejuran Healer. It's great for healing the skin if it's irritated. It's good for really alleviating severe dryness of the skin. But if you have oily skin, for instance, there are other boosters that are more appropriate for that. So clients will say, I want to go to Korea and I want to get Rejuran. But when the doctor looks at their face and they say, well, actually you have, you're pretty oily, or you have clogged pores, or you have bigger pores, I actually think the Exosome booster would be more appropriate for skin. So there are different boosters that once you have a consultation with a doctor, that may be more appropriate for your skin. But for the most part, foreigners want to go to Korea to just boost the health of their skin and boost our anti-aging benefits, and that's primarily in the form of booster treatments. So that's very popular.
Now, just to clarify for some of our listeners who might be listening and thinking, oh yeah, I've seen all of this in like serums and whatnot. We're not talking about those kind of products. We're talking about injections. So a dermatologist or a doctor will be actually injecting the key ingredient into your face. So it is different than just topical skincare, right?
Yes, there's deeper penetration. So it goes into the dermis layer. And so as a result, it's more effective because it does.
And I mean, this is where all the studies and everything has been based on, is the injectables, not necessarily the topical skincare products, which are making a lot of the same claims, but not necessarily backed up by the same kind of data as the products that you're talking about. Yeah, that's right.
So in the case of Rejuran, oh, sorry.
No, you go.
I was going to say that Rejuran, the topical skincare products, Rejuran as a molecule is a large molecule. That is why it has to be injected into the skin. Now, if you're going to put that on top of the skin, it's not going to penetrate the topical layer, so the epidermis. So that is why it's not as effective. But I think a lot of customers are not aware of that. So we try to educate our customers on what truly is effective, as well as what is just marketing.
Of course. That's one of I did a rant on that at the beginning of the year, because I'm like, we're going to be hearing about these for the whole rest of the year, but just know that there is a pretty big difference between these skincare products and going along and having it injected into your face. And that's not to say that people won't see, nice results from the topical skincare products, but just that particularly some of the maybe bigger claims around skin repair and rejuvenation, It's not going to be backed up by anything like the same levels of data as the kind of products that you're talking about that have actually been put through clinical trials. So I guess tell us a little bit more about products. You touched on stem cells, and I know that fat transfer with stem cells is one of the things that a lot of your clients are interested in, are talking about, but it's a little bit different from the kinds of things that are being done in the US. So can you tell us a little bit more about what exactly is going on in that field in Korea at the moment?
Sure. So fat transfer is a pretty common procedure. It's globally, it's a procedure that is done by thousands of clinics, dozens of doctors. It's been around for a long time. However, stem cells in conjunction with fat transfer is not something that is very common. It's not something that is very common even within the US. There are limitations in, I believe, the dosage of stem cells that is permitted to be injected. So in Korea, we don't have those regulations. And even in Korea, not a lot of clinics offer stem cells derived from adipose tissue, which is fat tissue. So in Korea, there are many clinics who offer stem cell treatments, stem cell blood treatments for boosters, IVs. It's pretty common to see. However, there's only a few that, so these clinics will extract stem cells from the blood. So you will get blood drawn from one of your veins in your arm, and then they will extract the stem cells, and then they will do the treatments, whether it be an IV or a booster treatment, injected into your skin via a needle. So this is very common. It's easy to extract stem cells from blood. However, there's only a few clinics in Korea that offer stem cell treatments extracted from the fat. Now, fat contains a higher dosage of stem cells, and those stem cells are mesenchymal stem cells, which are the stem cells that will differentiate in different environments and kind of repair the tissues appropriately, versus just either it's just specific stem cells for a certain area, but the stem cells that are most efficacious are the mesenchymal stem cells derived from fat tissue. So the clinics that we work with, several of them, you do have to undergo liposuction to some extent, but it's different from liposuction because liposuction, you just extract fat. However, when you're extracting fat for the purpose of extracting stem cells, you do have to be very careful. So there's technique related to that. And these doctors have been doing this for decades, some of these partners that we work with. So their technique in extracting the stem cells so it's not harmed, and then once they extract the stem cells, cultivating them is also a proprietary technique that they use. So that in conjunction, taking those stem cells in conjunction with the extracted fat to inject it into the bone joints or the face is a more efficacious treatment because it increases the survival of the fat graft. So fat graft, the reason why a lot of doctors, there's some, doctors that love it. There's some doctors that are iffy on this treatment is because the survival rate of fat differs from person to person. It also differs from different areas of your body. So sometimes you may have a fat graft in your face and one side may absorb it faster than the other side. So there's a potential likelihood of asymmetry in the final result. Or maybe all of it is absorbed by and metabolized by your body. So because of that uncertainty, there has been some movement towards fillers or collagen biostimulants where you do have accuracy and precision with the results. Now, with the addition of stem cells, you get more accuracy and you get more precision because it allows for a greater survival rate of the fat cells within that, the area that you've implanted it or grafted it onto your face. So the clinics that we work with do fat grafts with stem cells. It is unique even within Korea to a certain group of clinics. And of course, in the States, it's not as, precise and not as advanced as what you would find in Korea.
Fascinating. That is, and that is very much cutting edge, because I know even a few years ago, without getting into specifics, because I know it was contentious in Korea, but there were certain people in the public spotlight that got in a lot of trouble for having these kind of procedures.
Yes.
So I think things are kind of opening up a little bit more as the science advances. So that is very much a very new thing in Korea as well. So that's absolutely fascinating. Now, to continue with what is trending, I guess, in Korea, tell us, what are the treatments that the Korean celebrities are getting that we need to know about?
So Korean celebrities, they have certain time restraints. So they have to, between filming or between shows, they have a certain amount of time that they have for downtime,
for procedures,
results to kick in. Yes. So, they do get similar treatments to the general public, but the reason that you see their faces, they're absolutely glowing, they have no pores. When you see them on camera or when you see them at award shows, the treatments that they get to prep for those are timed specifically for those appearances. So, for instance, Ulthera and Thermage, they're kind of the gold standard for what most women get in Korea, because they are, I guess, intensity-wise and for the longevity of that treatment, they last the longest. So Ulthera is used for lifting. It is used for tightening. It goes into the deeper layers of the skin, so you can see the results. However, it is very painful. Now, a lot of celebrities get that for that tightening effect, to make their faces look smaller. Ulthera does have the side effect of melting fat. So if you do want a smaller face, or if you do want to slim your face down, then Ulthera is a great treatment for that. Thermage is great for tightening. So if you want to build collagen, if you want to tighten your skin, then a lot of celebrities also gravitate towards that treatment. Now, Ulthermage is a combination of the two treatments, and that is very popular. However, on a regular basis, celebrities get dermatoxin, which is skin Botox. And skin Botox really has that effect of tightening your pores to create this shiny glow. And that is what you see. Makeup can create that effect, but their skin underneath has that already has that gloss, that glass skin appearance. So on top of that, the makeup will just enhance it. Now, the downside is it only lasts about a month or so, a month or two. And so you really have to do it often, and celebrities do have the luxury of being able to do that. But for the normal public, it is harder, and it is painful too. It involves just tiny injections on the face.
All over the face.
Yes. And it does sting. But that is primarily the reason that when you see red carpet appearances or even on TV, the reason that they have this glow is because of the skin Botox. The tightness and the lifted and the small, the faces are due to just regular maintenance of Thermage or Ulthera or other Korean manufacturers.
Shrink is one of them, right?
Yes. Shrink is a lower intensity version of Ulthera. So you do have to get that every 3 to 6 months, versus Ultherapy you will get maybe 6 to 9 months. 1 year is stretching it, but about 9 months on average.
Okay. There you go. So we've got it on good authority that these people are literally taking care of their skin to within an inch of its life and timing everything to perfection so that they are absolutely glowing right when they need to, which makes sense. I often think when you watch like the Korean award shows, and it's so funny when the scenes come up of like the drama or movie that they were in, and you can see them and they're looking terrible and beaten, like depending on who the character is, and then you see the person in front of you and you're like, is that the same human?
Transformation, right.
Yeah. There you go. Okay, so we know then now what people are doing. So I guess to segue into, facial slimming, body slimming, I guess what is going on in Korea in that respect, and how is that sort of different from maybe the US and other countries like that?
So slimming is just a hugely popular treatment. There's the surgical option, obviously, liposuction, or there's now so many non-surgical options. And I think Korea does have there's a lot of advancement in the non-surgical techniques that is not necessarily approved or widely utilized in the States. So what a lot of clients, I think it involves some education and some comfort with the idea of lipolysis. Lipolysis is just the act of destroying fat cells within the body through injections. So in the States, Kybella was a very popular procedure, and for the jowls chin, right? Or under the double chin area. Yeah. So that was a popular treatment. However, there were side effects. So there was bruising. It was painful. Sometimes, despite that pain of going through maybe 3 to 6 treatments, they didn't see much of a difference. And the primary ingredient in Kybella is deoxycholic acid, which is found in bile. So bile breaks down fats. So they use that type of chemical, that type of, technology to inject into different parts of the body, including the chin or the face. Now, because of the downsides and the side effect of that treatment, it's not as widely used. However, in Korea, they've taken that and a lot of doctors have created their own proprietary injection concoction. So many times it's patented by that doctor. It is patented and it's gone through clinical trials to ensure its safety. So this is their own proprietary formula that is used for the purpose of lipolysis or destroying fat cells in certain parts of the body. Now, I don't recommend going to any clinic off the street and going for these lipolysis injections, because you really have to trust the doctor, trust their research, their credibility, and the fact that they have gone through great lengths to verify the safety of their product. So the doctors within our network, we truly trust them. They have a long track record of research published, or they've gone through clinical trials. They've done they're famous within their network for having showing dramatic results in terms of slimming. So in terms of non-surgical slimming, there are a few options. With devices, you can use ultrasound devices that heat the skin and melt the fat. Now, you do need several rounds of this, but it is effective. And there's radio frequency.
Could that be done if someone was flying in, like if they need several rounds? How does that work timing-wise?
So with the ultrasound devices, you can't really compress that into one treatment. You can you can increase the intensity to try to melt more fat within that region. However, they don't recommend doing this more than every 2 weeks. So a lot of clients will only be there for a few days to a week at a time. So one time of those devices will be effective. However, the combination of the lipolysis injections with that will result in the most dramatic effect. So often the doctors will do one round of these ultrasound devices. Onda is a popular one, as well as inject their lipolysis proprietary injection into those areas to facilitate even greater fat loss. So both of those treatments in conjunction with each other will have the greatest results, or the best results. So within the same time frame, what they can do is adjust the dosage of the injection. So rather than just doing a small amount every week or so, they can inject, a larger volume. Now, again, the client has to be comfortable with that, and there's clinics that do assist a lot of international clients. So for that reason, that is why they decided to increase the dosage within a certain region to speed up or result in the same and have the same end result within a shorter time frame.
Period of time, right.
So
that makes sense. I feel like a lot of Korean treatments and procedures that are done sort of domestically, it is more about like incremental little by little rather than hitting it with everything all at once. Whereas I know from like even my experience with dermatology in Australia, it's kind of like, let's blast your face off.
Yes.
That you can't leave the house for a whole week. And that's just not really the way that any kind of treatments are typically done in Korea. So it sounds like they're adjusting it for the foreign clientele, which is good to know if you're traveling to Korea and you don't have a whole lot of time.
Yes. However, doctors or dermatologists will not use the same type of lasers or the approach that Australians and in the US they use. So you're correct in the sense that they will use the CO2 laser for the entire face and the neck and the chest. And there is a ton of downtime associated with that. In Korea, it is more localized in terms of just blasting the moles or sunspots within a certain area, not the entire face. So in terms of yes, with slimming, they can adjust the dosage so that you can get the same result in just a short amount of time. But with the face, they still do adhere to the gradual approach. And in terms of downtime, a lot of our clients will not experience much downtime in terms of skincare because they're not really peeling or they're not just blasting with intense lasers. So, that is one thing to expect is that you're not going to experience too much downtime unless you're going through surgery.
Which is good. And we will get into that because I know that some of our listeners have expressed great interest in hearing more about plastic surgery, which is of course one of the things that you focus on, but there's just so much going on. I feel like we could be here all day. Let us get into... I feel like we've already kind of discussed, I wanted to have a chat about stem cells and booster treatments and, what they do. And I feel like we have already discussed that. Did you have any other things that people are doing for regenerative or anti-aging treatments that you think our listeners might like to know about?
Anti-aging, I think boosters are great for maintaining the health of your skin. And I just wanted to also mention that boosters, there's different ways of injections. So a lot of people will see on TikTok and social media, they will see people with bumps on their face from Rejuran.
Yes.
And yes, that is one method of injecting Rejuran, but there's others and other methods with less downtime and less pain. So there's a microneedling.
I'm always surprised that I see so many doctors still doing that because I feel like that's kind of the old way of doing it. Yeah.
And personally, I don't like that method. I don't like that downtime. And I haven't seen.
It's a lot more painful.
Yes. Oh my goodness. And yes, now if I were to get it, I would get sedated because it is so painful. And Koreans' pain tolerance is so much higher than mine and for foreigners. But yes, there are more less painful methods with less downtime of getting these boosters. So I would just like to get that out there because I think there's a lot of misinformation. People thinking they have to use that injection method when they get Rejuran, and that is not the case. In terms of true anti-aging, I think stem cells are the most anti-aging treatment out there in the sense that it will truly heal your skin and it will rejuvenate your skin from within. So while you may not see the most immediate results like you would maybe with skin Botox or even Rejuran or other skin boosters, it really facilitates healing under the skin. So that is a true anti-aging treatment if you were to get that type of booster. Now, for stem cell boosters, it is the most recommended way of getting that treatment is through injections. So when I did this several months ago, I was sedated for it. It's similar to getting sedated for an endoscopy or colonoscopy. It's like a 15-minute procedure. They extract, in my case, they extracted it from my blood. I did not want to do it from my abdominal fat because there was some downtime. There is some downtime associated with it, and I will do that over the summer. Just during my short trip there, I did it from the blood. And so it's a short booster treatment where they inject it into your skin, and you do have some embossing, like the bumps that you see from Rejuran, but it lasts from 1 to 3 days. Now, for stem cells, I do recommend that type of injection method because you do want it to get under the skin. So in terms of regeneration and skin health and anti-aging, I think stem cells is
that's your number one.
The gold standard.
Excellent. Great. That's very good to know. So we've now got all of the, I guess, tips and tricks we need for the quicker ones, maybe some quick, easy wins if you're on like a tight schedule, to the ones that are going to take longer to see results, but over time. And I feel like a lot of the more anti-aging sort of ones, particularly if it's rebuilding collagen or doing anything like that, you're not going to see the results immediately. Things need to happen deep down, to actually regenerate. It's regenerative medicine, really.
Yes.
So it's not like you walk out the next day or even the next week, like Botox or something like that. You can kind of see the results a little bit quicker. All right, with all of that knowledge under our belts, let us get into the topic of plastic surgery in Korea, which I think is a bit of a hot topic. A lot of people are very interested to know more.